see, the next one I have, let me get away from tax for a second. I thought this is an interesting one I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. So the article itself comes from Accounting Today, and it deals with one of the big four. PricewaterhouseCoopers has developed a contract tracing app for coronavirus and looks to reopen offices using that contact tracing app. So Peter, it's basically a long article on basically the technology that they have, but how it works is you have an app on your phone that you use to, like, I guess it's the PwC's like time tracking staff. Anyway, you log into this thing and you have your phone, supposedly you have your phone on you all day, and it like registers where you're at all day and then sends notifications if somebody comes in sick. Thank you. And so as this happens, you're basically accounted for every moment in the day of where you're at, who you're with, and what you're doing. And they're saying that it's only going to be used for tracking for tracking coronavirus and contact tracing. But I'm wondering if that then moves into an HR department or an invasion of privacy or micromanagement, kind of where your whereabouts are known 24/7 while you're at work, at least, and if that thing turns off when you're at home.
Yeah, well, especially now with everybody working from home, I can totally imagine a business trying to misuse that technology to keep tabs on where their employees are. And so, yeah, I think it's a very astute concern. But at the same time, I think it's also really interesting to try to think about how technology or an app can assist in any way during a pandemic, and how there are maybe some kind of interesting, utilizations of that technology that you might not think about at first glance. And so, yeah, it'd be interesting to see, but yeah, I hope it doesn't, turn into this sort of draconian watch where I'm going all day kind of a deal via my app that you said would protect me from coronavirus,
Well, I mean, it is when you think about it from the standpoint of a large audit firm like PwC, a big four accounting firm that does a lot of audit, I should say, like PwC, it does have interesting possible applications, right? Like, they're already charging the time, as AJ pointed out, and so if employees are charging time to an inventory observation, for example, but you can tell from the app that whether they're actually on site looking at inventory or not, that kind of opens all new possibilities for how different data can be tracked and reconciled to each other to really to really monitor and like you said, micromanage people more. And I think it makes sense in this country that this is the direction that it might go, because I'd heard about these tracking apps, and the discussion that I heard previously is governments using them, and how that could be kind of an invasion of privacy and against our constitutional rights and things like that. But it's like, oh yeah, but it's not the government that even has to do it. It's just our employers. Like, and you say if PwC does this, other big four firms do this. Pretty soon, other big employers like Amazon or Google and things could be doing this kind of thing too. And so, yeah, it does. Yeah, that it is interesting to say, okay, is that an unfortunate possible outcome of this coronavirus crisis? Is that employers are starting to do some things that we wouldn't have thought would be reasonable before?
What if they're not even what if they are, because the article does talk about where their intent is that all this information goes back and gets autonomized and then kind of gets, you're a number, not a name, and gets condensed, and so they can track it all. But I'm wondering, even from a perspective of an employee, right? Like using Ty's example, you're supposed to be on an inventory observation. Well, instead of going on the inventory observation for 4 hours, you finish an hour early, and all you and your team go to a bar. But you say you work there for 4 hours. Well, do you just leave your phone at the inventory observation? And then does that defeat the whole contact tracing purpose, because you're trying to get one over on being tracked? I don't know if it like blows up in everybody's face,
Sure. Yeah. For any system, there will be a workaround, of course. Yes.
Well, and I can't wait for the company that develops either some kind of proxy or some kind of device that you can use to game the system by leaving it in a good place to work and then going to the fun places on your own. I'm going to start that idea, and you guys can buy it on my Kickstarter later this year.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Hiring somebody to have your phone in the place where you should be. Like.
Totally. Totally. There you go. There's always another level to it. Anytime somebody's trying to do something to you, you just got to outsmart them one more level.